Yo, ich weiß nicht, ob ihr meine Reaktion schon gesehen habt. Die wird gerade hochgeladen. Noch circa 6 Minuten scheinbar. Oder rechnen wir mit 10. Dann wird die Reaktion auf Nebelnik hochgeladen. Da hat er Folgendes gemacht. The year was 1975. It was my 12th birthday. Das Problem ist, dass es auf Englisch ist. Das kriegen wir hin, das kriegen wir hin. My parents knew how much I loved Dad's record player. I was fascinated by it. Wir werden jetzt mit meiner Stimme versuchen, meine Roboterstimme oder meine Stimme zu kreieren, damit ich mit meiner Stimme alles sagen kann. Zum Glück kann ich das jetzt noch gar nicht. Okay. So, for my birthday, they gave me a record, the greatest hits of Johnny Cash. To have a record of my very own, it was a magical feeling. I played it over and over again. I never got tired of these songs. I tried to imitate the way he sang. My voice was much too high pitched. Dad said I sounded like a growling puppy. Some days I made myself hoarse. I played air guitar. I gave imaginary concerts. Years later, when I went to college, my record player didn't make the trip. I moved on to cassettes. My stereo became my pride and joy. In the 80s and 90s, I amassed a huge CD collection. I never stopped loving music, but I had forgotten all about our old record player. Hallo im Übrigen. Fast forward to last summer, my wife and I took a road trip. Walk the Line came on the radio. It brought back all those childhood memories. I had a vision of my parents' living room. I could see the record player clear as day. Was soll das denn? Mal nochmal. Not valid, not valid. Komm schon. Ja, schade. Dann machen wir einfach weiter. I never stopped loving music, but I had forgotten all about our old record player. I sang along with the radio. These days I could hit all of the low notes. As soon as we got back from our vacation, I made plans to visit my parents. At their house I spent an afternoon in their attic. There was a lot of junk to dig through. Finally, I found my dad's crates of vinyl. My own small collection was stored with them. I set up the old turntable. It was still in pretty good shape after all this time. I pulled my old Johnny Cash record out of its sleeve. I set it gently in place. Warum? There were some crackles and pops, but the sound was clear enough. I was so excited. I sang along playing air guitar. The record finished playing. I switched it out for something else. Wie viele habe ich jetzt? Weiß ich nicht, egal. And when that was over, I did the same again and again. Ich hab and then vergessen, aber ob das geht, I loved putting the record on the turntable rather than pressing play on my phone. It felt special. My wife thought it was funny. She called me a hipster. When we got back to our house, I immediately bought a turntable. Boah, das war so schlecht. I spent my weekends flipping through record store bins. I bought all sorts. But none are quite as special as my very first record. I still play it all the time. The hero of our story is a little raccoon. He has a bushy tail and small bright eyes. Wenigstens das. Obwohl das richtig schlecht war, haben die das genommen. One night, the little raccoon went for a walk. Raccoons prefer going for walks at night. Man. He found himself in a beautiful garden. The garden belonged to a very grand house. There was a fish pond in the garden. In the middle of it, there was a big stone fountain. The fountain was shaped like a bird. Water flowed from its beak and poured off its tail feathers. In the quiet night, the following water sounded like someone whispering. Following. He crept up to the back door of the house. It was fitted with a small cat door. The raccoon poked his head through the cat door. Then, with some difficulty, he squeezed his whole body through the small gap. He emerged in a kitchen. It was dark, but the raccoon had excellent night vision. Mal probieren, wie die klingen. Create. Create. Ach. There was a picnic basket on the table. He had hit the jackpot. He climbed on a chair to get to it. He lifted the basket lid and peeked inside. It was full of delicious treasures. Sandwiches, fruit, and 2 big slices of cake. He would take the basket back to his family. He grabbed the handle with his tiny hands. But the basket was too heavy. He would have to take the food piece by piece. Right at that moment, he had footsteps. Someone was coming. Quick as he flashed, the raccoon jumped into the basket to hide. He put the lid closed. A light came on. Through the wicker, he could see someone moving around. He heard the sound of running water, then the scrape of one of the chairs on the floor. The little raccoon was starting to get hungry, and the cake smelled so good. He nibbled a tiny crumb. It was so good he went back for a little more and a little more. But then the basket flooded with light. The person in the kitchen had opened the lid. There was a scream. The little raccoon panicked. He tried to jump out of the basket, but it tipped over. Bread rolls and hard-boiled eggs spilled out in every direction. The little raccoon leapt off the... Oh. The little raccoon... The little raccoon leapt off the table at once. He landed with a thud. To his delight, the other piece of cake had fallen on the floor. He scooped it up. He bolted back out of the cat door. The raccoon ran down the garden with his boys. He stopped by the fish pond, carefully cleaned the cake crumbs in the water. And then he ran all the way home. There, he shared a feast with his family. It was a cold night in March. The sky was cloudy, but the moon was bright. A young man was climbing out of an old car. His name was Charlie. He had been driving for days. He had eaten and slept in his car. His face was gaunt. His hair was dirty and tangled. Charlie's mother had died after the funeral. He had set off for the mountains. Och Mann. Guckt man sich sowas an. He didn't have a destination in mind. He drove hundreds of aimless miles. Finally, his car gave up. The mountain roads had given it a hard time. He had broken down close to a sky village. Snow was falling. Falling und Sky, Alter. It was bitterly cold. Still, there were lots of people milling around. Charlie found the nearest hotel. A young woman was standing at the front desk. Her name tag said Liv. She was making small talk with a guest. She was Australian. She was here for the season. Charlie waited his turn. Then he asked Liv if there was a garage in town. Alter, wenn das jetzt... He knew he must look terrible. Liv was visibly concerned. There was garbage close by. It would be open at 9 the next morning. Charlie took some directions and thanked her. Then headed back out. Thanked her, alles klar, thanked her. Liv ran after him. She asked if he had somewhere to stay. Charlie shrugged and said he had a blanket in his car. He would be fine. Der Moment der Wahrheit. Cringe.
Cringe.
Alter, jetzt mache ich sowas.
Alterjets matches sowas an, du klingst so dumm.
Ey, das klingt nach mir ein bisschen.
It will be sunny today in California. If you can, take a break from work and enjoy the nice weather.
Liv looked alarmed. It's well below zero and still snowing. She paused for a beat, then she lowered her voice to a whisper. She said she could get Charlie a room in the hotel for the night. There had been a ski accident earlier that day. One of the guests was in hospital. His things had been cleared out by a friend. The room was sitting empty. It would be resold tomorrow, but Charlie could have it tonight. Charlie didn't want Liv to get into trouble, but she smiled and said it would be fine. Dieses alles klar. Ich habe die Geschichte noch nicht mal verstanden. She showed Charlie to the empty room. It was on the 10th floor. It had a beautiful lake view. The mountains were black against the bright night sky. Liv set about turning on the lamps. She set a hot bath running. He thanked her profusely, joked that she was his guardian angel. Oh. Das schon 10 Minuten. And with that she left. Charlie looked out at the mountains with tears in his eyes. Jack sat in the back seat of the car staring out of the window. He was bored. They had stopped at a level crossing. A freight train going past. Most of the wagons looked dirty and old. There was graffiti scrawled on some of them. From time to time, a big tank would be coupled up to the train instead of a wagon. These tanks had yellow stickers on them. They showed exclamation points and skulls. Jack imagined the train delivering supplies to a supervillain's secret base. He felt like they had been there forever. The rhythmic sound was making him sleepy. Then Jack saw something that made him sit up straight. He pressed his nose to the window. The wagon going past had open sides. You could see straight through the other side. It was empty except for a girl, she said with her legs dangling over the edge. It seemed as though she was looking right at Jack. He wondered if she could see him. Oi. Ist das anstrengend? Ist das anstrengend? Ob, wenn ich das erste Mal 20 Minuten. Wird das schon. Alter, macht mich das fertig. Ich werde es aber noch weiter. Ich will meine Stimme haben. Ich will meine Stimme haben. Ich will doch eigentlich nicht viel. Einfach nur meine Stimme. Das ist echt gut. Eine Tastatur. Label nie. Ah, ja, aber leider keine. Doch, LEDs. Was? Ich meine jetzt mehr, aber trotzdem schon cool. Eine coole Maus. Wird wahrscheinlich aber nicht cool. Was? Deswegen kann er auf seinem Stuhl so heftig rumspringen. Mann. Mikro. Für Mikro. Das YouTuber-Mikro. Denn da. Okay. Aber ich glaube, die hat Ungar auch. 22 €. Schon krass viel Geld. Bei ihr. Sein, dass Tubo die auch mal hat. Naja, okay. Egal. Egal. Ist jetzt angepinnt. Ich werd daran arbeiten. Also in Livestreams. Damit ihr mitverfolgen könnt, wie unser Fortschritt ist. Ich wünsche euch schön. Jetzt sehen wir uns. Aber gerade bin ich fertig. Ich weiß nicht, dass Töne aufnehmen, also Sätze aufnehmen, so schwer sein kann. So schwer. Ich weiß nicht, wie lange. 20 Minuten ungefähr. Gar nichts. Ja, okay. Cringe. Und